Here is the last segment of our tutorials, and this involves audio. So I want you to watch Mr. Kaminsky's video on the right hand side. I want to watch this audio meter. Okay, if you can't see it, you need to click on Window and go to Audio Meters. If we go above -6 into the 0 range when we play it, we have the chance that audio is going to clip on some speakers. So we need to set it a little bit lower. So we're going to play Mr. Kaminsky's video.
On the programming language, which is, we're going to use probably two programming languages, one called Scratch and the other one called...
So we find that a lot of times we're having audio spikes up to 0 and maybe above. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight Mr. Kaminsky's video here, or sorry, his audio on the bottom. Then we're going to go to Modify, Audio, and we're going to apply a normalization gain. We're going to put that normalization gain to -6 dB and click OK. And that's going to actually lower the level of Mr. Kaminsky's audio. So what you see now is when I play this video, the audio levels aren't going to go higher than -6, okay, which means we're going to be safe for clipping on most systems for speakers. The next thing we need to do is we need to bring in our audio background music, and that is found, it's called Worldwide. If we double click on this Worldwide, we see that the audio waveform lengths, this is 2 minutes long, and to import this into our video, we need to do a couple things. We need to reconnect our audio in the left hand side. It's called the timeline patch panel, and we need to actually reconnect it at the bottom. So A1 is connected to A3 and A2 is connected to A4. And when we double click on an audio and bring it up in the viewer, to bring it into our timeline, we can do it a number of ways. We can drag it over and do an override edit, or we can actually literally just drag it down into the timeline. Now if I go back to the beginning of the timeline and press play, we're going to see the audio levels with Mr. Kaminsky, and we're going to see whether we can actually hear Kaminsky or not. Okay. If you hear that beeping sound, that's a good lesson. It means you need to render the audio so Final Cut can play it back. So now that our audio is rendered, we are going to play our sequence in our timeline, and it is way too loud. Okay? So what we're going to do is we are actually going to use toggle clip overlays so we can actually see that level, or we are going to normalize that audio, just that audio, so it is probably around -15. We want it quiet, or -17 even. We want it quiet so that audio is not distracting from what Mr. Kaminsky is going to say. So with that, we'll render it and we'll see if it works. So we're just going to watch our audio meters to make sure that the background audio doesn't distract from Mr. Kaminsky's voice.
We're going to be offering a computer programming option. The first initial part of the class, we're going to have to make sure you understand some basics about programming.
So it's still a little bit too loud, so we're going to adjust that down and continue with our audio, finalizing our whole video in the next segment.